Welcome back to Made Up Wires, where we are decompiling Castlevania Symphony of the Night. We've been working on the clock tower. Go to soten.z.dev to learn more about the project. Join us on Discord, etc., etc. Like, subscribe, do all the things. In the US, this is Thanksgiving week, so it's going to be a little odd. I might not be around all week. I'm very late today, but we'll see. I do want to say to everybody who tunes into the stream, watches it later, is interested in decompilation, chats, has questions about the game, has questions about what am I doing, has threatened me with hypothetical legal matters, whatever. I'm thankful for you all, and I really am thankful that I get to do this and that I have the opportunity to work on reverse engineering one of the greatest games of all time, and learn and build tools and be a part of this community. And that includes everybody who comes by. Hey, Dizzik, good to have you. Like Dizzik. Be like Dizzik. Show up to chat every day. Alright, so what are we doing? We're going to get into Clock Tower. I'm going to make this probably a little shorter today because I have not been sleeping because of HOA related matters. If you are not in the US, you probably are not familiar with the concept of a homeowners association, nor should you be, because the very concept defies that of liberty, which we are so fond of in the United States. So we have some interesting things. Red door looks like it didn't match. Medusa heads, those are a pain. I like the pendulum. There's nothing like that in the rest of the game, so let's look at the pendulum. All right, Nate, good to have you. I apologize, Nate. I have not had the opportunity to look at your code execution, arbitrary code execution video in detail. I have watched it, and I really do intend to do a deep dive into it. But I will, maybe with the long weekend, I'll look into that, and then we can talk about it in early December. All right, so we're going to look at the pendulum. Some interesting things here, not necessarily the way that I would have expected to be broken up. That's the way it is. Let me rant about homeowners associations for a little bit, and then as I pull this code together, and then we'll start decompiling. Well, thank you. So in the United States, there are some areas where the people have gotten together for one reason or another. Maybe a real estate developer configured this before the owners were there, but they decided to get together and form micro governments called homeowners associations, and those homeowners associations have their own covenants and rules and regulations, and they restrict your freedom. They restrict you from being able to, say, leave a broken down car in your front yard. That may or may not be a good thing. They restrict you from painting your house certain colors. They restrict you from, what else does our association restrict us from? All kinds of things. When you move into the community with a homeowners association, you agree to be bound by the rules of that association. So there's a contract. You've left America and entered whatever micro jurisdiction you now own a house in. What should we do? Should we do the weight, the chain, or the anchor? Forcing you to mow your lawn more often than you want to. Fortunately, we just have rocks. So I don't have to worry about that. But yes, landscape maintenance, yes. Not planting things in places where things previously weren't planted, or should a plant die, replacing it with a plant that may be a different plant than the one that was originally there. I know what we should do. Sorry, I've been up writing appeal letters. Let's look at the size of each of these. I think that's a good idea. Typically, it happens that with this limited, tiny amount of power, these are all very small. Surprised that the chain is the smallest, actually. That these micro bureaucrats decide to achieve by getting themselves elected to the board. They have then decide that this power is unwielding, and they should hold it like the sword of Damocles over their neighbors' heads, even though they have to live with those neighbors, and they won't always be on the board. But yet, that's what they do. And so for a simple thing like, I want to change something about my house that hasn't been changed for 25 years and is now out of date, and my wife and I finally agree on how we should change it, a rare event in the history of time, the HOA will inevitably decide to get in the way of such a decision, and then make your life a living hell for contemplating making a decision without their approval. That said, we did seek their approval, and we followed all their laws and guidelines and rules and the parent community and our city ordinances, and they still think we should not be able to do what we want. I gotta see, dig down deep. You're absolutely right, and that is what we did. C's we did. All right, so we have a unknown negative BC here. That complicates things a little bit, but it's not too bad. It just means we're going to the entity before, and now all of our offsets are negative. Some of them are easy, like B8. That is going to be BC is going to be the x coordinate. Negative B8 is going to be the y coordinate. 28, that one's a little harder. You have to take BC, subtract 28, and see what the offset is. And so we can do that. So I guess let's get started. I actually don't see. So these have been assigned to the S3 register and S2 register, which makes me think that they are in fact variables. If this was the PSP, they would be. So I'm going to go forward with that assumption. I'm going to assume that this other temp S0 is not a real variable and just add the plus 400 in here. Oh, I should probably get this compiling first. Sorry, I was up like till 1,000,000 o'clock last night. And my head is full of cotton. Nate might know a thing or two about that. Joking. I'm gonna call this pause X I guess I'm going to set it to val. I don't have a better idea yet. So that's what I'm going to call it. And I'm going to do the same thing for y. And then down here, get rid of the temp S3, because I don't think that's going to be necessary anymore. Oh, what else do we got? We got this negative 28. Oh, all right, so let's do this math. I don't want to, but I'm going to have to. So BC, which is the size of an entity, minus 28, which is the offset that we're looking for, and that gives us 94. 94 is within 7C, unfortunately. What a terrible place to be. 7C and later is the entity extension, so we know this is going to be in the entity extension. That gives us 24 bytes into the entity extension. And do we have an idea of what the type is? RS0, it looks like a signed 16, so 24. So that's 12. Oh, what do we got here? Chat. We got a 12 of size 16s. Love it. So what is... what's going on? I think I'm formulating a theory of how this is going to work. The chain, the anchor, what do we got? We're doing the chain now. The chain, the anchor, and the weight at the bottom are all going to be, what's going on now? Are all going to be related, basically by a parent, and no, not a parent field. They're going to be consecutive in this array, and so there's probably going to be my guess is that this is for the weight. -1 is the weight, and +1 is going to be the anchor at the top. We'll see. We'll see. All right. 6.767? I've never looked up the origins of 6.7, but my children say it constantly. And anytime anything references 6.7, I am sure to get an earful. If you're not sure what 6.7 is, that means you're a human. Okay, so we have this... we're adding 7 and then doing this plus shift thingy. My guess is that that's some kind of... What is that going to be? So we're taking the value. It's just a mod, right? If it's less than 7, we're gonna, or if less than 0, we're gonna add 7. I think it's just a mod. And so I'm gonna go with that. So I think we're adding 7 and then modding. Modding what? Let's just try some things, I guess. Oh, I actually don't think we're modding or adding anything. I think we're just doing the mod equals. And var0 is not used anywhere else. Let's try 8. Not quite. So I think we can change this to a plus equals. This is strange. My head is too out of it to follow what's going on right now. So I'm going to go to the PSP. Hey, PSP. Where are you? You think that's what... So Dizzy is suggesting it thinks that he's setting it to 6 if the value is less than 0, but it could be much less than 0. It could be like negative 14, and then this would be negative 7, right? Maybe I'm missing something. And then when we shift it over, we're dividing by 8. Yeah, I might be able to think through it, but... I'm sure it's obvious, and I'm just not all there. So we're looking at entity, pendulum, bone chain. When am I ever all there, though? Really? That's not really something I'm known for. Oh, okay. So we're starting a PSP. Scratch. Let's go. Dread. All right, let's grab this. Let's give M2C some help. So we're going to put this in the context. When we put it in the context, M2C can see it. And when M2C can see it, it will do a better job. So then I was writing all these mildly legal, no, I shouldn't say mildly legal, these very procedural documents. And I don't spend a lot of time with LLMs, so I mean, so far this is looking good. And then we do this, var v0. So we're dividing by 8. Oh, is this just a division by 8? Divide equals? And if this is less than 0, then we're going to do some funny business. I think it's just divide by 8. Let's try that. So I spent a lot of time with LLMs, not to have them write things for me, but just to organize documents and other things like that. And was pretty happy, I guess, with how that went. I missed a variable somewhere in here, the rotate variable. The rotate. Oh, so this is related to the rotation. I see. So we do need that. I'm gonna do a pass-through assignment, and let's do that. does what I want. And then the fact that this is being pulled out into a variable is a little strange that it's a v0. We can go back and look to see. I really don't think that it is a... Oh, so this would be coming from a variable though. So let's grab that. And I have a little rotation function that I can, or utility to switch this into a nicer form, radians, I think. Hey Roman, good to have you back. I used to say before most of the streams, just because it's big doesn't mean it's hard, and just because it's small doesn't mean it's easy. And this is going to be likely one of those situations. So we're going to go through and let's look at this more specifically. I think this is signed, and that's going to give me a bunch of this. Yes. But let's look at what's happening here. I'm going to take angle, make the assignment by itself, do an angle divided by equals. So we have two. Take this up. Okay, I'm done with all these other variables. All right, so I think we have a variable that's going to the stack pointer, which is a little strange. Rotate gets divided by 8. Yes. Okay. I would buy that. Angle should be assigned 16, I think. All right, so we have one issue at the moment, which is that we're getting... Oh, it should be entity probably. Yeah, there we go. And are we writing this back to entity? Yes. Nope. So we have this add that we're missing. Let's try the mod. Not a mod. Okay, so divide by 8, I think is correct. We are assigning it back to S0. So I do think it is going to be an angle divided by equals. So something else is happening along the way. We are storing the result back. We're adding something. We're adding V0 to... We're adding it back to itself. Now that makes more sense. All right, so the next thing is we're storing this at offset 94, but the value I have is only 1E. 1E is getting stored. So we're missing something in, and what we're missing is that this is getting set to angle. I think it's getting set to rotate. Rotate is getting set to angle. There we go. So the self, or this object, it's getting its whatever this rotation state is. Basically, it's getting passed down to it. And so my guess is that -1 is the weight, because as the weight swings, it's going to rotate, and it's going to rotate basically at the same angle as the chain. So that makes a lot of sense. All right. So now in the PlayStation version, we were pulling out these variables up here. These are, in fact, getting pulled out up here. The shift left, the shift left by 8 doesn't make a whole lot of sense. The shift left by 4 does. All right, I'm just futzing. So we have a shift left by 4. Oh, and then a... so that converts it from a PlayStation to a fixed. So we have float to fixed. So there is a float to fixed macro. And I'm going to put that in there. I think that's clearer to do than just doing the shift. And this is basically saying we have a PlayStation format 20.12 formatted value. We're converting it to a Konami or Soten formatted 1616 fixed number. Here's a multiply by hex 10 twice. Oh, yeah, let's look at it. Yeah, times 10 times 10. Yeah, that makes sense. And so we have this float to fixed first. So let's change it to a times 16. That's getting us a little closer. So, oh, I see. So we're doing, I think, pos x plus equals, and then we're going to set. That looks much better. And so y is going to be the same thing. I think that's it. Weird. This is weird. It always is. There's always something weird. Hey, intern, make a chain and a ball, and it has a swing, and the guy has to be able to stand on the thing. You don't think that's exactly what happened? I think I have transcripts. Okay, now what did I screw up? Sine and cosine are doing the same thing. Oh, are we... Did I put this in the wrong order? Oh, maybe I didn't do anything wrong and I'm just not compiling, and so can't see how correct I am. And that's exactly what happened. I was so correct. We got it. All right, PlayStation, let's go. You're gonna get it too. There's one for you. Oh. Bracket on 29. I got that message a little too late. Take that. And there's our bone chain. Don't even want to know. So similar to last time, init environment now is in the global header, so I don't even need that declaration, which is nice. So this should build fine as is. Yep. So we got that one done. Okay, so hopefully these next two are easier, but we'll see. The next smallest one was... Look at the weight. Oh, the weight has to have all the collision code. Let's do the anchor. I don't remember anything special or specific about the anchor. Maybe it's the parent to both of these? I don't know. That's weird. Seems too tricky. Hopefully this one goes fast. And then I'll talk a little bit about... I mentioned that I wrote a tool called liblib. I've changed the name, I think, to Psyk, or Psych, which goes with PsyQ, which is a library written by SN Systems, or a development environment by SN Systems and Psygnosis. Pretty crazy stuff, how involved Psygnosis was with Sega and Sony in the 90s, and it's crazy to think that their tools, which kind of were all over the place, like for small dev shops, became the PlayStation SDK. But they did. Okay, so these are, I think, based on the other stuff that we've seen here, these are probably triples. And my guess is that there's no structure. Oh no, we did we have structure last time? We had these triples. Yeah, we had this pause rot. So I'm gonna reuse that. Do we have anything else? So we just have the 6 here, indicating that that's probably what it is. We'll see. A good mood. I'm tired. I was up till 2. I was up till 2 in the later than that. And so I'm slap happy. I'm just sleep deprived. Unfortunately, later I'm probably going to be not the friendliest person. My poor family. Apologize in advance, family. Sorry, these are gonna be pause rot pointer. I'm going to make some assumptions here, and then we'll work out whether or not those assumptions were correct later. Basically, let's do this. Let's take this as 0 and then this as 1 as references, just to keep it consistent. I don't know if that's going to be correct or not, but we'll see. I have a K somewhere. K1. B5, that's not bad. Now this looks like AI. Yes, I do know about the debug commands on the second controller. They are, they're pretty much identical for every entity that uses them. Ooh, that's interesting. So here's the thing. Let me aside. So we have pad 2 anim debug, and the only difference that exists, and I think I could rewrite this. Let's do that. Let's make this simpler. That's better. All right, so anytime you see, if you turn on debug printing, anytime you see charal printed, that means, no, you don't see it, do you? Because it's in the debug state. Anyway, we know where that code is, and what I think I'd like to do, and this is interesting. Currently, we don't have any debug information in our final elf files that get built, which means like we don't know line numbers and things like that, or the combined elf right before it gets turned into a binary. If we did, I could update MIPS match to, I guess with the object file for these entities, I could, the debug symbols are there for that. I could update it to emit, like per file, what fingerprints exist, and then we could actually look for this in every entity. And that's actually, I think, a really good idea. I'm not going to do that today, but stop it. But it does exist and it's possible. Neat idea. So it looks like there's 7 bones in the chain. So I was slightly wrong about what that would be. So we know that the bone chain is going to be 20 here. And var S0. It could be the anchor, it could be something else. I don't know. That's my guess, is that, okay, so this is likely chain creation. And then this is, what direction are we going? So this is, oh, this is the anchor, so this is the weight. Yeah, I've seen Colonel Equinox's wiki. He has the Soten.dev wiki, right? Yeah, we have looked at the developer mode a bit in the past. Ooh, that was close. 26, so this is backwards. Yeah, so I've used it in the past, and you can enable it with GameShark pretty easily. In entities that use it, so I can give you all the entities that currently use it, or at least approximate. So let's see, let's put this in a more reasonable form. So Owl Knight, Bone Archer, Harpy, Candle. Not many, actually. I would have expected this to be bigger. But like I was saying, I have some other things that I want to do in MIPS Match. I finished writing a parser, so I wrote a parser for all of the SciQ stuff, and can read, as far as I know, every SciQ library and object at the moment, which I did find a random forum that I had to go to on archive.org to get. I don't think that didn't have complete documentation. SozuD's implementation isn't complete, and one of the PlayStation dev blog or dev wikis that I've seen before basically said nobody knows anything about this format, which is not very helpful. This is probably going to be another one of those things so I'm guessing it's a shift by 4 or float to I, and then a shift back by 8. Well, it didn't like that. It was correct before, and now it's not correct, so. By correct, it was producing the correct assembly. I don't think it actually is correct. Okay, so we do have the shift right logical, shift by 7 divided by 128. Let's try it and see. No. Whenever you add like some guarantees around the math, you get way more instructions. The other thing is that this is a signed value and not unsigned. So yeah, we're getting an arithmetic shift instead of a logical shift. That's from the 3 here. So let's multiply by 3. So this should be a shift by 4 this direction. And then this, let's try 16. 12. 11. But then we're missing the shift left. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it the way that it was. And then we'll go get the PSP version, like always. Let's see, what do we need here? So there's something in the parameters. Let's go back and I guess look. See what we're looking at here. Oh, sorry. Apologies. Basically, I was trying to work out this same thing. Instead of a times 10 times, or sorry, times 16 times 16, we have times 3, shift 7. I'm just not in the headspace at the moment to work through that. I am in the headspace to get back to the pendulum. Last week I put in Elden Ring for the first time, not played it before, and I think of the FromSoft games, Bloodborne may be my favorite. I think aesthetically it's my favorite. So I played Bloodborne, Sekiro, and now Elden Ring. I'm not a aficionado of the FromSoft games. Oh, and I'm I guess Armored Core, which doesn't really count. Okay. So I was trying to see is there a difference between the two? And what would make them different that you would need a parameter? I don't see anything. Sucks at double jump. Just put it just out of the reach of double jump. Oh, it may be related to... Yeah, it's related to the starting point. I see. So there's no difference. It's just these are actually two different things. So normally I would say that this is an array and we should treat it as such, but I think they're actually two different starting points. So here, 27. I think, I'm not positive. Ooh. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this because without the context, I'm going to leave it like this. We'll see on the PSP. Screen again, I know. Doing the wrong thing. All right. So what I was saying here, this is where you get either the left pendulum or the right pendulum. These may be separate global variables as opposed to an array. Not sure. I don't think if I made them two different global variables, M2C doesn't have enough context to know the difference. Whereas GCC, if I define them and put them right next to each other, GCC would. The add here, add 6 here, indicates to me that it's an array. I could be wrong. It's happened before, once or twice. Let's grab PSP version. Anyway, Elden Ring. What was I saying about Elden Ring? The music is fantastic. Everybody says like this FromSoft game or that FromSoft game is the hardest FromSoft game. In general, I thought Bloodborne was easier than Sekiro. And at least so far in Elden Ring, I am having a terrible time low level. I don't know if these mechanics are more similar to Demon Souls or Dark Souls. I've never played either of those, so I don't know what I don't know about those games. But so far, I like the aesthetic. Obviously, it's a very well-regarded game. Do I like it better than either of the other ones? There's definitely mobility. In modern games, I feel like mobility is a important feature, and just as kind of a feature of early game FromSoft is that you're slow. And that's not fun. I feel like they do that, and then like it's such a rite of passage to make the game fun, which I think is kind of stupid, honestly. So here we have an entity ID that's always going to be different on the PSP, and so I think we have all the entity ID stuff already done. I think Project Oblivion did that. No, it's not done. Trat. Okay, so we'll have to do that. So we're gonna make EID and then so we know we have 20 and 22. Sorry, 21. Both are hex. We're gonna grab these values, and there's macros to do this. But I'm going to do it this way for now. And that will put these globals in the right place. Of course, it'd be helpful if I define what the globals are. These are extern sine 16s, I think. That's the wrong. Should be 30. D0. Well, let's try sine 32s. That looks like it works. Oh, this is interesting. So I usually like putting these in an if-else, but that doesn't look like the way that it's written. 35, and this looks like it's a plus plus. So it is an array, and we know that it's an array now. So it could have been two globals, but it is guaranteed to not be. Let's go look at this. What I want to see here is, are we reloading offset D over and over and over again? And it does appear to be. So this is the shift by 12 makes sense. Shift by 12 is a float to integer conversion. So I'm fine with that. And then this is a multiply by 60. I multiply by 60. 32, 40, 64, 96. So yeah, all that seems fine. This is a plus equals, and then we have an and equals. And then we are loading it one more time and masking. Weird that the mask is so different between the two loads, but looks like the way it is. I like making this a break. Okay, we still have some things that are untoward, unbecoming. All these unsigns need to be signed. Oh. 33. Just that one global. All right, so we're going to do this. We're going to say if this is PSP, otherwise no equals in a macro. Wrong screen. So I'm just working out the macro stuff now. And I think that's fine. I'll have to do the externs for these. I think I can get rid of those. We'll get them elsewhere. All right, let's try it. Let's see. This is the anchor. Get rid of the include ASM. All right, so now the question is, have I done everything necessary for the PSP? I'm going to grab this. I know that I will need these definitions down there. So we're going to add the externs. And is my only option, I guess my only option is to add the symbols. I'll have no choice. So we do this basically as a way to be able to use the same code, even though in one case it's a constant and the other case it's a global. I did spend some time a while ago looking at, is that actually the case, or is there something funny with, say, how like const globals are compiled in MetroWorks versus GCC, and I couldn't get it to work in any way that mattered. So if it is a compiler issue, we kind of know that it's not, though, because there is a load function that gets used, and that load function specifically sets these globals, and that could be an initializer, and that is supported by MetroWorks. Some compilers support, like when you load a module, execute this code, kind of like a constructor, but at the module or library level. Okay, so we have a declaration. Pendulum weight. I have a symbol. Oh, an extra E, so we don't have a declaration. And then we have the wrong array address or symbol for that auto-generated symbol. So I will grab that. I'll keep them separate for now. And then when the last function is done, I'll import the data first and then map the symbols, or not map the symbols, merge the files. All right, so that's it. That's all. I have other business to attend to. So I'm gonna go to soten.z.dev to learn more about the Castlevania Symphony of the Night decompilation project. Oh, I was gonna go over, should I do it? Should I do it? What does it matter? Let's do it. Okay, so this is psych or psyk. It's building now because apparently I don't have this configuration compiled. but it's attempting, hopefully, to do a bunch of the work that dumpobj and scilib did in the scq SDK and give you compatible output for the same thing. And so this is looking at an object file and dumping everything in the same format that dumpobj would do. And as far as I'm aware, this is the first utility outside of those that understands every section type as well as all of the expressions, or all of the operators in the expressions. So what does that mean? That means you don't have to use DOSBox, or I'm not sure. They probably run in Wine, Weibo, things like that. You don't have to use those tools. There's a modern version of doing that. It does look like I have to fix my XBSS that is incorrect output. I still need to write some tests related to that, but everything else works, and it's kind of neat. So this works with both PlayStation and Saturn libraries. I've added a bunch of additional options. So in the original object dump, you could pass the C argument. It's a DOS program, and they have it at the end. Hopefully I'll add support for that, but who knows. So you can do that here as well. Oh, come on. You can take the C argument. I think I have to use the info subcommand. I wrote this, and now I forgot. Yeah, you have to use info. That's fine. But when you get to code sections, then it will give you a listing of the code. And that's not terribly useful. This is processor type 7, which is MIPS. There's processor type 7 and processor type 8. DOSBox question, R6. I don't know if that's a question about what DOSBox is. DOSBox is an emulator specifically for running DOS programs that emulates a i386, I think. So getting the raw binary, that's fine, but that's not what most people want. So I added Rabbitizer as well, which is a MIPS instruction decoder. And so you can get a instruction dump directly from these as well in a format that should be more familiar to most people. Oh, the old SciQ development tools were all DOS-based, so the ones for Saturn and PlayStation. They were either DOS-based or they were Windows command line programs. So we get a nice dump. There's some things here that I need to resolve as well. So these, there's going to be patches here that are used for linking. So what is this jump actually going to? It's not going to 8,000. It's not going to that's basically address 0. Yeah, the original DevTools. So this is, rewriting some of the original DevTools. Too much information, Eldritch. So anyway, there's a bunch of stuff here. I spent maybe a week and a half working on this, and the whole point is to be able to. So Nate the Great, he thought, can we get a list of all the entities that use the debug code? MIPS match is a tool I wrote for finding duplicate code in things, and so that is that's an appropriate feature that tool should have. It doesn't yet, but it should have it. And then what I wanted to do was take these libraries and basically pull fingerprints from them. So for the entire PlayStation SDK, that won't work for Saturn SDK, different processor family, not MIPS. Let's generate fingerprints for all of the known SDKs that we have that are up on archive.org or elsewhere. And then you can tell very quickly what SDK a particular game was built with, and cheaply. So this is an effort to do that, to basically be able to extract the code from these lib files that that were on the SDK, and they're probably on a bunch of games and stuff too. Who knows? Who knows? Anyway, go to something.z.dev. I'm gonna publish that to GitHub hopefully this week, and we'll see. I don't know. That's all I got. Adios.